Before you spend a single dollar on the M5 Mac Mini, pause for a second and listen to this, because this tiny box looks simple, but the decision you're about to make is not. If you get it right, you end up with a quiet, insanely fast, almost invisible desktop that just gets out of your way and lets you work, create, and play for years. If you get it wrong, you'll be stuck staring at spinning beach balls, juggling external drives, or realizing you bought the completely wrong kind of Mac for your life. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through what the M5 Mac Mini really means for you, how to decide if it's actually the right Mac, which configuration will age well, and one group of people who absolutely should not buy this machine, no matter how hyped it is. And that last part alone has the potential to save you a lot of money and months of frustration. The Mac Mini is Apple's tiny desktop. No screen, no keyboard, no mouse. Just a small metal box you plug into your own monitor, your own keyboard, and your own mouse or trackpad. Because Apple's been switching its entire lineup to their own M-series chips. Each new generation of the Mac Mini has taken a huge leap forward in performance and efficiency. Less heat, less noise, more speed. The M5 Mac Mini continues that same idea. It's for people who want Mac performance without paying laptop prices, without carrying anything around, and without a giant desktop tower sitting on the floor. If you've always thought of the Mac Mini as a budget Mac, you're only seeing half the picture. In the right setup, it can feel like a tiny Mac Studio for a fraction of the cost. But only if you're honest about what you need and you configure it properly. So who is the M5 Mac Mini actually for? If you're someone who mostly works at a desk, this machine is directly aimed at you. Think about your day. Do you write research, browse, and do email? Do you live inside Chrome or Safari with too many tabs open? Do you edit photos, cut 4K video, make music, code, trade, or do design work? If most of that happens in one place, your home office, your bedroom desk, a studio, the Mac Mini makes a lot more sense than a laptop. You get desktop class, performance, no fan noise in your face, and you can pair it with a big, comfortable monitor or even multiple displays. On the other hand, if you're constantly working in coffee shops, traveling for school or work, or you just like to move from the kitchen table to the couch to the bedroom, a desktop of any kind is going to feel like a leash, and in that case, the M5 Mac Mini is probably the wrong move. A MacBook will make you happier, even if the spec sheet looks less impressive on paper. So here's the first big decision point. If your computer stays in one place, the M5 Mac Mini is a serious contender. If you move constantly, you're about to spend money fixing the wrong problem. Now let's talk about the part Apple loves to upsell you on: configuration. The M5 chip is designed to be fast and efficient by default. For everyday use, web browsing, office work, media consumption, the base chip is already more than enough. Where people destroy the experience is not the chip, it's the memory and the storage. When you buy the Mac Mini, Apple gives you a few choices for how much unified memory you want. This is not like old Windows desktops where you can just pop the case open and add more RAM later. On Apple Silicon, the memory is built into the chip. If you cheap out now, you're stuck with that decision for the lifetime of the machine. If you're a light user, email, documents, streaming, casual photo edits, the lower memory option might be fine today, but the real question is, what will this feel like 3, 4, 5 years from now? Apps get heavier, browsers eat. More memory, operating systems add features. If you like having a ton of tabs open, if you jump between apps without closing anything, or if you work with large photos, videos, or code projects, stepping up your memory is one of the smartest choices you can make. You probably won't notice a slightly faster chip on day one, but you will absolutely notice when you're hitting a memory wall every single day. Here's the rule of thumb. Most people get backwards. For long-term comfort, it's better to slightly overbuy memory than to chase the highest possible chip configuration. Now, storage. This is the silent trap. Apple charges a premium for internal storage, so a lot of people try to save money by going for the smallest possible drive, planning to use external storage later. External drives work, they're fine, but your internal drive is where your system lives, where your apps live, and where the stuff you open every single day should live. If you do almost everything in the cloud, streaming, Google Docs, very little local media, you can get away with less internal storage and keep large files on an external SSD. But if you edit video, store photos, keep big project files, or you want this Mac to be your main machine for years, going too low on? Storage is like buying a house with almost no closets. You will fill it faster than you think, and you will regret it when you're constantly deleting things just to install one more app. Ask yourself, right now, on your current computer, how much space are you actually using, and then add a couple of years of photos, videos, and apps to that number. That's the starting point you should be thinking from, not the pretty low price on Apple's website. What does the M5 Mac Mini actually let you do in the real world? If you're a content creator, YouTuber, video editor, photographer, podcaster, the Mac Mini is one of the cleanest ways to build a powerful editing station on a budget. You can pair it with a color-accurate monitor, a good mic, in studio, speakers, and upgrade each piece when you're ready without touching the computer itself. If you're a developer, you get that classic Mac OS environment, Unix tools, and the speed of Apple Silicon. All in a machine that doesn't scream under load and doesn't roast your hands like a hot laptop can. If you're a student, you have, to be honest, do you really need a desktop? If your life is campus, libraries, and shared spaces, the M5 Mac Mini only makes sense as a second machine, a cheap home-based setup, not your main computer. If you're coming from Windows and thinking of switching, the Mac Mini is probably the safest way to test the Apple ecosystem. You reuse your existing monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and if you hate Mac OS, you can resell the Mac Mini much more easily than an all-in-one. Now, let's talk about ports and monitors, because this is where a lot of first-time buyers are. Surprised. Before you buy, literally take a piece of paper and write down what you'll plug in. How many monitors do they use? HDMI or USB-C? Do you need to plug in audio interfaces, SD card readers, external drives, or a wired Ethernet cable? The Mac Mini gives you a limited number of ports. It's usually enough for most people, but if you have a more complex setup, you'll want to plan on a dock or a USB-C hub from day one, and that's not a deal breaker, just something most people forget to budget for. On monitors, this is one of the biggest hidden wins of the Mac Mini. With a laptop, you're usually stuck with a 13 or 14-inch display, unless you add an external. With a Mac Mini, you're forced to pick a real monitor, and that can change your entire experience. A good 24 or 27-inch display makes everything feel faster, simply because you see more, do more, and switch between apps less. Don't blow your entire budget on the Mac, and then stare at a cheap out panel 8 hours a day. Balance your spending between the computer and the screen you actually look at. Now here's the one group of people who should not buy the M5 Mac Mini, no matter how tempting it looks. If you are that person who constantly needs tech to just work in every location at home, at the office, at a client site, while traveling, and you know you are never going to set up a proper dedicated workspace, a desktop is the wrong answer.